In the midst of World War II, the shortage of British heavy vehicles brought forth an unexpected American hero, the Diamond T980 truck. Rejected by its own army, this rugged tractor revolutionized tank transport, leaving an indelible mark from Europe to Siberia. Today, discover how a long hood truck changed the course of the war and automotive history. The wartime context that changed everything. Our story begins in May 1940, in the thick of World War II. At that moment, the armored divisions of Guderian and Manstein launched a lightning offensive that ended up encircling the combined British and French forces on the coast of the English Channel. It was then that the British High Command realized a serious gap in its arsenal. They lacked enough heavy vehicles to transport tanks. Developing a domestic model in such little time was unthinkable. The solution was to look across the Atlantic to the American automotive market. Thus, the British military authorities announced a competition to find a suitable vehicle. The rise of Diamond T. The winner was Diamond T, a Chicago-based company founded in 1905 by entrepreneur Charles Tilt. In its first 6 years, Diamond T built luxury automobiles, but in 1911 shifted its focus to truck production. Unable to compete with the giants of the exclusive car market, over the following decades, Diamond T specialized in 2-axle medium-duty trucks with capacities ranging from 1.5 to 5 tons. In 1928, the company expanded its lineup with compact farm trucks of 750 kilograms capacity and even launched its first 3-axle model. Curiously, the company's most productive period came during the Great Depression. While many others collapsed, Diamond T produced an ever wider range of heavy trucks equipped with Hercules 6-cylinder engines and 4-speed transmissions. The birth of the M19, rejected by some, valued by others. It was precisely this class of truck that caught the British eye. The company already had a model ready that was originally intended for the U.S. Army. But there was a problem. The truck did not meet the technical requirements demanded by the U.S. Department of Defense. The main reason was that the Diamond T980 did not have all-wheel drive. Its wheel configuration was 6x4, meaning it lacked traction on the front axle, and it wasn't equipped with a gasoline engine, something mandatory under American military standards. Because of this, the vehicle was relegated to strategic reserve status and classified as an M19 tank transporter, paired with an M9 trailer with 24 wheels and 3 axles. An urgent solution to a real problem. For the British, these limitations were not as serious. With the war raging, they couldn't afford to wait. They needed an immediate solution, and the Diamond T980 fit the bill. Thus, an American truck rejected by its own army became the foundation for a new generation of tank transporters, not only in the United Kingdom, but also years later in the Soviet Union. The American truck that shaped Soviet transporters. In 1941, Diamond T980 trucks entered mass production, and by the following year, 1942, the first batch was shipped to Britain. By 1945, the British Army had received around 1,000 of these heavy tractors. During the North African campaign, this truck proved to be an exceptional tank recovery vehicle, rescuing a large number of damaged machines from the sands of the Sahara. Design and features of the Diamond T980. The Diamond T980 was a 3-axle heavy tractor with a long hood, bonneted design, 6x4 wheel configuration, and an unloaded weight of 12 tons. The first production models came with a fully enclosed metal cab for 3 people. Later versions were fitted with open military cabs that included flat windshields, low rounded doors, and a foldable canvas roof. Behind the cab was a welded metal ballast platform with a fold-down rear gate. When hauling heavy trailers to ensure maximum traction on the rear axles, the ballast deck was filled with weight, anything from concrete slabs to stones, scrap metal, or any heavy material available. This ballast platform had a load capacity of up to 8 tons. Between the cab and the ballast deck sat a Garwood winch mounted on a special platform capable of pulling up to 18 tons. The levers for operating the winch were also on this platform. The winch mechanism was powered by a short shaft and a chain drive connected to the engine's power takeoff. 2 models, 1 key difference. The Diamond Company built two tractor models, the Diamond T980 and the Diamond T981. Both vehicles were practically identical, except for the winch design, which determined which model each unit belonged to. The Diamond T980 was equipped with a winch that had a cable of approximately 27.5 meters, 91 feet 12 inches, operating exclusively at the rear of the vehicle, mainly to lift damaged tanks onto the trailer platform. In contrast, the Diamond T981 featured a winch with a cable extended to 46.5 meters, 152 feet half-inch, which worked both at the rear and at the front of the vehicle. For this, the cable passed along the left side of the chassis and through a special rectangular opening cut into the left side of the front bumper, allowing the winch to be used for the truck's self-recovery. That rectangular opening in the left bumper was precisely the feature that made the Diamond T981 distinguishable. This detail was absent on the Diamond T980. The heart of the tractor, engine and transmission. Under the hood was a Hercules inline six-cylinder engine with a displacement of 14.6 liters and an output of 185 horsepower. This engine was paired with a fuller four-speed manual transmission. The truck's suspension was based on leaf springs without shock absorbers, while braking was handled by drum brakes with pneumatic actuation. Stopping a vehicle with a gross weight of 25 tons was no easy task, especially since the truck towed a trailer with a load capacity of about 41 tons. The trailer itself weighed 9.988 tons, which placed enormous stress on the braking system. In addition, the lack of power steering meant that maneuvering the truck, especially when fully loaded, was a physically demanding job for the driver. Fuel consumption, range, and exterior features. Without a trailer, the Diamond consumed about 48 liters per 100 kilometers. When towing fully loaded, fuel consumption soared to 120.6 liters per 100 kilometers. Fuel was stored in two symmetrical tanks with a total capacity of 568 liters, mounted on both sides of the chassis behind the cab. The range without a trailer was about 480 kilometers. Among the truck's distinctive features, aside from its long butterfly hood, were the massive metal toolboxes located on both sides of the cab. In terms of dynamics, the vehicle reached a maximum speed of 37 kilometers per hour when unloaded, and only managed up to 26 kilometers per hour while hauling armored vehicles on the trailer. Arrival in the Soviet Union and adaptation during World War II, around 500 Diamond T980 and 981 trucks were sent to the Soviet Union under the Lend-Lease program. There, they were used to transport tanks and other heavy equipment on M9 lowboy trailers. After the war, surviving trucks moved into civilian life, with many conquering the harsh off-road conditions of the far north and Siberia. Although designed for temperate climates, the Diamonds were not ideal for extreme cold. Their diesel engines without heaters struggled to start in freezing weather. On top of that, diesel fuel thickened and failed to flow properly through the system's thin pipes. Another issue was the lack of heating inside the cab, which made driving in winter especially uncomfortable. Ingenuity to survive the Siberian cold. These difficulties were overcome in the field thanks to the resourcefulness of local drivers and mechanics. Covered hangars were built with special devices to heat fuel and oil. Fuel lines, filters, and batteries were insulated with felt covers, and homemade antifreeze was used in the cooling system. Canvas cabs were reinforced to provide more comfort. Some Diamonds remained in service until the early 1960s. The Diamond's influence on Soviet automotive industry. It was precisely from these Lend-Lease trucks that the post-war Soviet automotive industry developed. At first, the design and certain technical solutions of the Diamond T980 were incorporated into the three-axle Yaroslavl trucks, models Yaz 210 and Yaz 214. Later, in the late 1950s, after the transfer of truck production from Yaroslavl to Kremenchuk, the Diamond's design features became evident in the first Kremenchuk trucks. Kraz 214, Kraz 219, and Kraz 222. For these reasons, the classic Diamond T980 with its distinctive long hood can safely be considered the American grandfather of our beloved traditional Soviet heavy-haul trucks. If you were surprised by the story of the Diamond T980, the true American grandfather of Soviet trucks, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. That way, you won't miss more fascinating tales of machines that made history and continue to inspire. See you in the next road adventure where every truck has a story to tell.